So if someone's listening to this right now and they don't really have a plan, they get paid, they answer their bills, and then they wait till the next payday. Is there a step one in taking back control?
And so one of those habits is living on less than you make. Like if you make $40,000 and you spend $60,000 a year, that's a problem.
You cannot manage your money if you're not measuring it. You can't really understand what you're doing and where you're going if you're not tracking what it's doing.
The very first thing, number one, that I'll say to do is build a peace of mind fund. This is not about maths. It's not the mathematically optimal thing to do, but it is the psychological. Because as we've discussed, money is as much about emotions as it is about numbers. So what I'll say is go through the last 30 days of your bank statements and calculate exactly how much it costs for 1 month of your living. So mortgage, rent, utilities, bills, minimum debt payments, car payments, whatever that total is, that's the amount that you want to save up for your peace of mind fund. The reason why you want to save this is because when life does what it does best, which is throw curveballs, you want to make sure that you have it handled. If a boiler breaks, your car dies on a Monday morning, the last thing you want on top of the stress of dealing with that thing is the financial stress of how you're going to pay for it. That's what this thing covers. It tells you, I've got peace of mind. Whatever life throws at me, I can handle it. And saving that 1 month of living costs puts you ahead of 59% of Americans and 30% of people living in the UK. 59% of Americans, unfortunately, can't pay for a $1,000 expense. And 30% of people in the UK can't cover 1 month of their living expenses if something happened.
Where did credit cards come from? Where did auto loans originate? What about student loans? How did this all happen? And most of it was good intentions that turned into huge profits for companies and corporations going like, we can screw a lot of people over and make a lot of money from interest.
Credit cards are good if you're using them in the right way. Really good if you're using them in the right way. And that means the points that you're using, the rewards that you get for it, the bonuses that you get from it, all really helpful, only if you're paying them off in full every single month. If you're not using that, or if you're not doing it in that way, which is kind of what they want you to do, because they want you to miss these payments, because that's how credit card companies make money, by your missed payments. If you're not doing that, then the benefits just don't weigh up.
Okay.
It doesn't make sense. Use credit cards, but use it in a way that stacks up in your favor, not in the credit card company's favor, because it does encourage extra spending otherwise. Step 2, this is where we do move into the mathematical optimal thing. This is you cut the financial bleeding. Because if you have savings of $2,000 earning 4%, but you also have credit card debt at 20%, you're leaking money more than you're making it. It's like pouring water into a bucket with holes in it and wondering why it's not going to fill up. Mm-hmm. So what you want to do is you want to take all of your debt that you have, rank it from highest to lowest.
In terms of interest?
In terms of interest rate. And then everything above 8%, you want to make minimum payments across everything first. And then everything above 8%, you want to throw your extra savings into the highest interest rate first, to the debt with the highest interest rate, and then move down in that order. Number 3 is build your emergency buffer. This is your core living expenses that we've already calculated in step 1. And you want to times that by 3 if you are single, you have predictable income. Or you want to times it by 6 if you are head of household, you have a mortgage, you have unpredictable income.
So number 4 is investing?
Number 4 is investing. For a while, we've heard of the phrase save for retirement.
Yeah.
Saving for retirement. You cannot save your way to retirement. With the way cost of living is going, with the way inflation is going, with the price retirement is going to cost by the time you get there, saving is just not enough. You have to be investing your money. And there are 2 main ways that you can invest. But before I even say that, most people know that they should be investing, but they don't do it. They say, I'll do it tomorrow or next week or next year or when I'm rich. And then by the time they do start, they've missed out on the most powerful lever that they had going for them, which is time. That is one of the most important things when it comes to investing. Because of the way when you start investing with small recurring amounts, it just compounds over time.
We did the largest study of millionaires ever done in North America, and I think there's a lot of overlap in the habits that we talk about with the Ramsey baby steps and what we found with millionaires. So it was encouraging because it just gave us some great confidence in the Ramsey plan. And so one of those habits is living on less than you make. If you can't do that, this is not for you. Like
Right.
if you make $40,000 and you spend $60,000 a year, that's a problem. The other one we found is delayed gratification.
For that first one, why do you think people feel the need to spend more than they actually make?
I think at the root of it, it's discontentment. We're not content with what we have. It's never enough. And thanks to debt, you're able to do that. Like before debt existed, you couldn't spend more than you made. It was physically impossible.
Right.
And all of a sudden, with the advent of debt, and I talk about the history of each piece of the puzzle here, like where did credit cards come from? Where did auto loans originate? What about student loans? How did this all happen? And most of it was good intentions that turned into huge profits for companies and corporations going like, we can screw a lot of people over and make a lot of money from interest if we convince them they need that newer car. And look at colleges. What do? They raise prices because you can get as much student loans as you want. Sally Mae's happy to give you the monopoly money, so colleges go, let's double the price. People will pay for it.
Yeah.
And so because of that, people just have been spending more than they made for a long time now and putting it on the tab and going, I'll worry about that later.
Okay. What's the second habit?
The second habit is practicing delayed gratification. That's a discipline that we have lost in an instant gratification culture.
Right.
We have instant access 24/7 all the time in the palm of our hand, 2-hour shipping. And that has caused our brains to just get fried where we're like, I can't wait a week. I can't wait 10 years to build wealth.
I need this now.
I need it now. And we found millionaires are okay with the long term. They're playing the long game. And that's a very different mentality to have.
They don't need it right now. They can say, I'm going to put 10% or 5% or a certain amount of dollar amount every month away automatically, that I don't need to buy something with this. It's going to go to my future self.
Yeah, or I'm going to pay cash for that car. That means putting $1,000 away for 24 months to save up for a $24,000 car.
And for the majority of the people who are watching this show, I won't say the majority. If you're with the School of Greatness, we're going to say a majority of y'all should be winning. For those of us who are watching this show, a lot of us are probably saying, dang, I just got paid last week, but I don't know where the money went. And it's because you're not managing it well because you're not measuring where you're going. So that's number 3. I'm gonna list out everything and watch this. Before I put it on the budget, I'm gonna write it out. Yo, I owe this bank this, I owe that bank this. I'm gonna list out all the debt. Out of all the debt, I'm gonna list out all of my monthly expenses. Then I'm gonna take that information and I'm gonna put it on this budget. And here's the truth, if we're gonna be honest. It is gonna frustrate you.
Yeah.
It is gonna make you feel depressed a little bit. You're gonna feel discouraged a little bit because what's gonna happen is you're gonna see you have more debt than you have income. That's gonna be my number 4. Once I see that I have all this debt, I'm gonna measure, okay, what is the income strategy that I need to come up with that is gonna create margin to help me pay off my debt.
As soon as they believe that it's going to work, they change. And as soon as they believe deeply, they change dramatically and scare all of their parents.
Is that hope? Believe as in I can do this thing as opposed to believe in the strategy?
I think if I plant this corn this way, I've never done it before, I'm actually going to get corn. So I'm going to plant the corn. I think if the debt snowball. I'm going to list my debts smallest to largest, pay minimum payments on everything but the little one, attack the little one. It's not mathematically correct. Well, actually, technically is. I'll tell you in a minute. But but it's not. We're paying. What about the highest interest rate? Shouldn't we pay that off first? No. You need a win, so you believe. You need to get the locus of control straight. You need to get the sense of agency, a sense of I can control the controllables. I am actually driving this bus. I am not a victim of the culture. I can actually control, and I can actually pay this stupid car. You pay off a little $500 credit card. You go, okay, that's one down. Maybe let's try it again. And then you pay off a $1,500, and then boom, you knock out a $3,500 motorcycle payment. And then and then as the more the proof is in there, the more they get fired up, the deeper they sacrifice, the faster they go. And we all do that. And probability of completion there is much higher than the probability of completion of paying off the highest interest rate first, because it might take 3 years before you get a win. And so when you factor in probability of completion, the debt snowball is mathematically superior to doing it the other way. But nobody puts in probability of completion in the mix.
It's psychologically superior. Right?
Yes, and people actually do it. They don't do the other one. Yeah. That's the difference.
Look, I've had a number of conversations. Richard Dawkins was one of the people that I had this conversation with. And I tried to explain to him why trying to force people either out of faith or into whatever worldview it is that he wanted through raw, what he would consider rationality, is fundamentally uncompelling, because what you're telling people to do is to deny the thing that's most real to them, which is story, narrative, persona, legend, archetype, and rely on the thing which is most unreal to them, which is statistic, probability. We have no sense of that, and I think that you have. I really appreciate the first time I learned about your debt snowball. You're right, mathematically, in raw spreadsheet terms, mathematically suboptimal. But as soon as you fold the complexity of a human and our motivation system into it, it makes way more sense.
And again, probability of completion. So as a result, and so that's what it is. That's why the 7 baby steps. That's why the clear path. That's why we went back to that same motivation on the business outline we just did. Was we're still trying to show, okay, I'm a treadmill operator now. When I'd level up on my time management, I get my first team member, I get to move to the next level. Oh, this is working. This is working. I'm gonna work this system. I see a believable system, and I'm gonna plug into it. If you go to the gym and you run for 2 hours on a treadmill, and you change your diet and eat sawdust and crappy tasting food because it's healthy or whatever, and then you gain weight, you will quit. You would only do those punishing activities unless you're a masochist. You would only do punishing activities in order to win. No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but it yields a harvest of righteousness.